2 or 3. When the cryptos creak and the tombstones quake,
spooks come out for a swinging wake.
Happy haunts materialize
and begin to vocalize.
Grinning ghosts come out to socialize.
Lovely mention of Phantom Manor. How are you all doing today? What? Who did you expect? John Shot of Douglas, the 9th Marquis of Queensberry? Oh, you expected Mr. Ghosthouse, sir, did you, Mr. and Mrs. Imaginary Viewer? Yeah, I knew that. Well, I'm sorry to say, he's somewhat indisposed at the moment. He's got a late Valentine's Day date, over a month late by the looks of things. Now, I can't say who it's with. He won't even tell me who it's with, but I have a few ideas though. And their romance is as hot as the fire that Maleficent started the other day round the back of a small world. But I digress. It is funny that you should wonder where Mr. Ghosthouse was though, or where he is, not sure which way to put it. Now, usually people wonder where I am. You know, A, more important, B, better looking, C, I mean look at that hair. Now, I haven't been seen in the Disneyland mansion since 1969. At least not by potential Ghost 1000s riding around in their doom buggies. So that's why people wonder where I am, to spell out the point. Having said that though, rumours are beginning to swell. The rumours are that I, or at least a figure of me, will be added back to the California mansion. But if that is the case, and if it is me, what would I be doing? What pose? Would I look like my original incarnation, or my present incarnation, or another incarnation? And would I be there in time for the park's 60th? In fact, would I be there because of the park's 60th? And would I be temporary or there for good? And maybe could I be coming out to the Florida summer house as well, eh? Now, I'm not in a position to say either way about any of this. But what I would point out is that a wall of sorts, a wall for want of a better word, has been added in the California mansion between the attic and the cemetery. Now it sort of looks a bit like a window and is believed to be being prepared for a new arrival, ... Now originally, people may have just thought that Constance was redecorating. That attic has had almost more looks than she's had husbands. But then on January the 30th, 2015, some mortal young lass named Erin Glover posted on the Disney Park blogs an article called Chilling Challenge. What's hiding inside the haunted mansion at Disneyland Park? Snappy. Now, while we here at the Haunted Mansion Show are a big fan of alliteration, Chilling Challenge, Rumbling Rumours, Magical Mayhem, Freaky Fan Mail, Sinister Superstitions, and so forth, we are not a big fan of vagueness. I mean, least of all, Erin isn't even stating whether it's a who or what is being added. Nonetheless, a lot of people put in the comments several speculations as to who this ghost would be. However, the majority of the comments, way over 3/4 of them in fact, suggested that it may well be me. Or at least they're hoping that it might be me and my beautiful mug girding at them and they fall out of their attic and into their untimely death in the cemetery. You know, I was going to read out some of those comments to you, but that's too short. And there are so many other rumbling rumours roaming around the mansions and the manors at the moment, and not just about the wall, the new ghost, whether it's me or not, and quite who Mr. Ghosthouse is currently dating, but also about the new merch. Why Disney execs seem to think said merch fits in the guest shop at the end of Tower of Terror of all places, the Del Toro films, but that's more like the old news rather than the new news at the new court, this year's Gingerbread House for when Jack takes over, the real reason McVie came back, what Dick the groundskeeper didn't see coming, why Hoist is even called Dick in that storyline, the reason for the owl facts, and whether Shanghai Disneyland is really going to get a Mystic Manor in 2008 like the one what they have in Hong Kong, or whether it will be Tangled Tree Tavern, Toy Story rides, or another construction. Probably restaurants. But the rumours what I would most like to talk to you about are about Phantom Manor. Before I do though, thank you very much to artist SRF for making the above painting inspired by one of the previous episodes, and thank you for putting it onto DeviantArt, and thanks also to Josh Thomas for alerting me to it. It is amazing, as is a lot of SRF stuff, so keep up the good work there, you mateys. Yarr. The guy went there a bit piety, did not even no good reason. Now, I know that a lot of you would like me to talk a bit more about my visitations to the manor. which of course I'm going to do. But I would like to point out, for example, that Martin Gagaru commented on the YouTube video for episode 26, saying that he was hoping they would discuss Phantom Manor on their show. Now, for those of you new to the Haunted Mansion show, I have periodically been giving people a step-by-step tour around the attraction, especially in the more recent episodes, and I have got so far as not talking very much about the queue line outside the building, then boring people senseless about the foyer, and then the stretch room. And for a bit of context, just continuing on from there, after the stretch room in Phantom Manor, you walk along a portrait hall, much like a Mirror Mansion here in California. Now on the owl, this portrait hall is very much a similar experience in terms of layout and morphing portraits and whatnot, although them portraits do morph a lot slower in France and a lot less often. There are some other differences to the hallway though. In Paris, for example, the portraits are on both sides of the hall as opposed to just the right hand side, and they don't have those windows along the left with the thundering and the whatnot, though at both the sound of the mysterious train from yesteryear is heard rumbling above. Or is it just my imagination, as Mr. Ghosthouse would have said? Or I'm paraphrasing him a bit, but it don't matter.
As you travel past these priceless works of art, perhaps you sense a disquieting metamorphosis. Of course, it's only a trick of the light. The real beauty of this house awaits us farther on. There's a party in her honor, and she'll just die if we're late. And now, curious souls, a carriage approaches to take you to the party and beyond. I leave you now, but I'll be waiting for you on the other side. Have a frightfully good time.
This is, of course, where the Mortals born Doom Buggers. Now, on the right, once on board, but still in that loading area, there is a great amount of room nothingness in the Disneyland mansion, but a beautiful staircase in Phantom Manor, which is in front of a window with curtains tied back and a tree outside. My words can't do it justice. I have a tear welling up just thinking about it. But for now, going back to the theme of this episode, I feel I should mention a handful of the current rumours pertaining to Phantom Manor, specifically with regard to the updates and upgrades thought to be coming to that attraction for or by the park's 25th in 2017. Now, firstly, with that beautiful staircase. Rumour has it that Melanie Ravenswood soon will be found sitting on them steps, weeping over its beauty, or over a wedding more like, and most possibly holding them their flowers that she always tends to hold like that, and that... it's getting too much for me. I mean, it'll be nice. Obviously, she's not the bride who I was once to marry, but things move on. There are people out there, though, who don't like change. And indeed, there's currently a petition, ironically on change.org, petitioning Disneyland Paris to keep the manor pretty much as is. Rumours also abound about Phantom Manor getting all new Doom Buggers, new technology for the aforementioned portrait hall, and some new audio, or possibly even restored Vincent Price audio, for the attraction as an whole. Definitely other parts of the Paris Frontierland are thought to be getting work, and for those of you not in the know, Paris Frontierland is where Phantom Manor can be found. Now, things that are thought to be getting work in that Frontierland include the geysers next to Boot Hill Cemetery, the ranch will be used a bit more. BTM will be getting a massive smeg-off pitch of the founder of Big Thunder Mountain Mining Company, which, if you don't know, was Melanie's father, the mighty Henry Ravenswood Esquire. While this refurb work is being carried out, though, there will be very little for the average tourist to do in the Paris Frontierland, hence them adding a show or two, or so they say, which will include a sing-along of Frozen, which is most likely to go in the Chaparral Theatre. But even so, in Frontierland, the theming, I just don't get it. And the worst thing about that whole thing is Olaf. That bloody snowman really annoys me. Taking over the resorts, can't get away from him. I need to go swimming just to calm down. But where would a ghost go to go swimming? Feel free to use your own punchline to that one. I suggest Lake Erie or the Dead Sea. But talking of people who are annoying, it is getting a bit late, and I'm out of rumours that interest you at least, and I am getting a bit worried about Mr. Ghosto, sir. Not that I tell him I'm worried, and don't you tell him either, but if he's not back by the time I've had my swim, I'm calling the authorities. You can leave now. Cheerios, it's all done. I don't do the good goodbyes like Mr. Ghosto so often does. Do I look like I've got more to say? I'm not letting you watch me getting into my swimwear if that's what you're hoping. Go on, scram.